Hello,
everybody.
everybody. Hey, you need to turn on the light. I can't see your pretty face.
There we go. Now we're cooking with oil.
So much better.
So Anna, I can tell you're dying for your positive focus. Come on, talk to us. What do you got?
Claire invited me to a 5K again.
Yay!
Yay! So November 15th, I have to be able to run 5K. So I'm going to set myself at 7K about a month before that and be doing 7K every day for a month before, well, 3 or 4 times a week before so that I can actually run with her. Because last time she really she beat my socks off. She runs faster than me. So that is going to trigger a habit, and it's going to be one of those habits like you talked about that like has the ripple effect, which is coming at a perfect time because there's a change in my life. So, since I'm moving, so I think it'll be really, really cool. Because instead of getting lazy and eating junk food and going out to eat all the time because I just don't know where I'm going to be at what time since I'm here, there, and everywhere, I think it's going to be a really good time. A really good way to focus.
It's awesome, Anna. Nice.
There's my pockets of focus.
Dad, how about you do yours next? You need to do something other than yawn for a while.
I had a very good week with you, Jenny, and the girls enjoyed themselves immensely doing the paddle board, the tubing, and just the hanging out. So thank you very much for that.
You got it.
What was your favorite part of the trip, Dad?
Probably spending time with my new daughter.
He's kind of a puppy. Okay.
What do you think, Kay? What about you this week?
I have 2. The first one is I'm playing varsity golf.
Woohoo! Way to go!
And the second one is I got to spend some time with the Turks. She's my confirmation sponsor and her family. And they had a whole entire ice cream buffet today. They had 5 different kinds of tubs of ice cream. And they had an ice cream sandwich, and they had brownies and so many toppings, and it was just so yummy.
Really?
Yeah. I ate so much. I felt so sick afterwards. I ate like every type of ice cream. It's so good.
Oh, really?
Oh, dear. John, go ahead. Dad, we're going to have to turn your mic off if you keep yawning. Like, seriously.
You're going to have to mute it, Dad, when you're yawning. You're killing me here.
Get up and do some jumping jacks or something, because it's getting kind of out of hand.
Well, like I said, my positive on the fact that I had some friends come from St. Louis with us. They were here for 4 days. We stayed for 2 full days. We were gonna go swimming. It wasn't the we had a water balloon fight. We ran around a lot, and the next day we watched a movie, and they went to try some of Dell's and Elam's root beer, which is like the best root beer in Decatur. One of the things that makes it known, I guess, is Dell's popcorn and their root beer. That was lots of fun.
That's awesome.
That was my popular focus.
Nice. Well, mine, I had 2 this week. I got to hang out. I got to meet my new sister, Eunice, Lucy. I had to hang out and do some tubing. I did so much tubing that I even had a concussion. That was pretty awesome. Lost my Fitbit, but have another Fitbit. That's right. It's a habit. It's not coming off. And one last one. This last week, we were able to finish up all of the all the video courses for life support training. So we have CPR now. So we have 4 courses now total, and all of them are video courses. And all the video courses are now by far the very best courses that are available online by a large margin, even better than the American Heart Association.
Very cool.
We have them going up on Udemy this week, meaning that'll be the first time they're ever available to everyone to anyone without an internet connection, or with an internet connection, completely and totally for free.
Nice, Fritz.
So we just drafted
Very good.
Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now I just drafted an email to the Khan Academy, so we'll be getting on the Khan Academy too with any luck. So all those things going on.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Where did I get that?
That's very awesome.
There's something where like you're really excited for somebody and you want to give them like praise. You do like snaps. Caroline, do you know what that's from? I don't know what it's from. I can't remember.
A poetry, like
maybe that's a poetry applause.
I don't know, 'cause I know there's golf, and I think
Golf, poetry.
Hey,
maybe.
What, Dad?
Caroline, who's been blowing everybody out of the water with the Fitbit? Caroline.
I've been
That's right.
with the Fitbit.
Caroline's been doing pretty awesome. She's been catching up to Lisa.
Really?
Have you been putting it on one of your sisters or something?
No, I've just been golfing 18 holes.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about putting our Fitbit onto other people, Dad.
Oh.
DJ, did you get a Fitbit?
What are you talking about? Huh?
It's his.
Wherever the camera is.
Good to see that back on you, Dad.
DJ had one on the other day. Looks suspiciously like Dad's.
I've got it. I got it.
Uh-huh.
No, because it has a small band, which is now waiting for Caroline.
So good, Dad. I'm glad.
Because Caroline needs a small one.
Dad, you're not hitting your 70,000 steps. You're at 50 right now, so you're kind of running behind. Just saying. Not good. Keep working on it. All right.
I just took over. I just took over.
You just took over what?
Using the Fitbit.
Oh.
Who had it before?
Why were you not using it before? Oh. Okay.
DJ wanted to see if she could beat Lisa.
How'd it work out?
And couldn't even beat Caroline. Well, she didn't beat Caroline, so she definitely didn't beat Lisa.
Well, all right. You have her keep working at it. If we need to get one for her, that's great. So
I love it.
K-Bomb, tell me, what did you learn from this?
I think she's over it now.
This habit video.
You know, I really liked kind of midway through when they talked about willpower. and they talked about how it's like a muscle, so the more you use, the more tired out it gets, which is why most people's productive time is in the morning, because if they work in the morning, then all of their willpower is used up in the morning, which makes it more productive than in the afternoon, because then they have less willpower.
Which makes us think about doing morning work and getting up early in the morning.
So when they say willpower, does that necessarily mean the stuff that you really don't want to do and you have to kind of will yourself to do? That it's just the stuff that, like, it's actually going to take your effort to make sure it gets done type of stuff? Is that what they're talking about?
When they talk about willpower, Kay, did you catch what they actually meant by willpower? Because this was an incredibly important point. They tied three real big things together: willpower, habit, and grit. And those are three really big, important bodies of work that they all connected the dots on, I thought, pretty well. In this book, for sure. In the videos, not perfectly, but like those are three things that are really well interconnected and really important to understand. Do you remember what the relationship between any of those were? Like what those had to do with? Like, for example, like willpower. Like, you remember T would talk about willpower a little bit, and she would say willpower is like a bucket. You only have so much of it throughout the day. So if you use a lot of it here, you're not going to have much by the end of the day, right? Much like your muscle, whenever you use it, it gets tired out, okay? Now you can do different habits like exercise that actually strengthens willpower. So that's good, right? So that's one way to kind of increase that, right? But most of your day, or at least 45% of the day, was taken up by habits. That's what they had said, right?
Yeah, 45%.
And what did they say about people with a lot of grit? What did they say about them with habits? Anybody remember? People who are real gritty. What's it mean to be gritty? Anybody? If you're real gritty, you're very persistent. You're hardworking. You keep moving. You persevere. You keep going all the time, right?
It's not that they had more willpower.
Nope, they had the same amount of willpower. You're exactly right. They did not have more willpower. Now, did they have more talent?
They just, I don't know. They successfully habitualized their day.
Say what? What was that, Kay?
They successfully habitualized their day.
So what they did, they layered their habits, right? They put one habit on top of another habit, on top of another habit, and before you knew it, that 45% of their day that was habits were all good habits, and a ton of good habits, to where willpower is used up when you're not doing your habits. Because what they say about, like, the mouse, they talk about the mouse in these? I forgot. I've watched a lot of them by him.
No.
You throw a mouse in a maze, and it uses up a lot of brain power until it figures out and it makes a habit. I'm going to mute you, Dad. So, like, until it makes the habit loop, once you get into a habit, your brain doesn't have to think anymore. It's habitual. Like right now, when you drive, Kay, it takes a good amount of willpower, doesn't it? It takes attention. You have to use your brain.
Yeah.
You notice that Anna can probably jump in a car right now, drive somewhere, and she might even end up in a place where she didn't even realize she was going because she wasn't even thinking. She didn't turn her brain on at all about driving. Why? Because it's a habit. She didn't think about it. Now, how much willpower did it take for her to drive?
None.
Nothing. It's a habit. So the relationship is habits. If you layer your habits down, if you're cognizant of what habits you want to have, you lay them down. Once they're a habit, you don't need to think about them anymore. They just become part of what you already do. You don't have to think, therefore they don't take up your willpower. They no longer are hard for you. Is it hard for me to get up at 4:30 in the morning? No. Was it initially hard for me to get up that early? Probably. I didn't like to do it when I got up that early initially. Whenever I worked out every day. Was it hard to work out every day? Yeah, it sucked, and that took a while. Now, I don't feel good if I don't. So, like, that's my reward in the habit loop, right? I know that if I don't, I'm not going to feel good. Therefore, I have to keep that habit loop going. But how much willpower does it take me to go work out? It takes willpower for me not to work out now.
No.
You've retrained your brain in a kind of a different way. This is why these habits are just like a really, really super freaking interesting thing. Because like you only have, like you said, okay, only a certain amount of willpower. Like once you use it, like for him, why did he eat his cookie? Or one of the reasons why he said he liked to go and eat his cookie?
Socialization. So you can socialize.
Yep.
You can't break. Like, you have to have a break in your work day. You can't just work the whole entire day without a break.
He needed a break time.
Yep.
But did you see how did he figure out that what he really wanted was to socialize?
In the process of elimination. He tried different things. He tried like exercising and then going to the cafeteria and getting something else and then just staying at his desk or something. And, yeah.
Now some people would call that self-awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a little bit like kind of almost like Socrates, know thyself, right? You have to know certain things about you. So what was the keystone habit, right, Anna? That was the one you were looking for? The one habit that affects a lot of habits? What was the keystone habit around diet? Do you remember what it said? 100%. Food journaling. So when you write down, you look at yourself almost like an observer, and you get to figure out what your habits are, right? And that's exactly what that dude did, right? All he did was figure out, like, all right, between 2 and 3 o'clock, I like a cookie, or I eat a cookie. He didn't know why he was eating a cookie. He was just eating a cookie between those times. And then he broke it down as to why he was eating a cookie, because his wife didn't like him being fat. So he stopped eating his cookie. But he had to fill the 3 things of a habit loop.
So, do people that write books, and stuff like on just random things like this, are they constantly asking themselves why things happen? Like, do they just think why? So, like, I get this, but why does this happen? Is that why? Is that how they get the ideas for books like that and stuff?
Maybe.
So it seems like, at least for this guy, seems like that's how he just wanted to know why.
I was listening to a couple of other videos, Kay, and these were by people who, like this guy, just got very interested in one topic or another. The one gal I was talking or listening to was into, she was a Muslim, and she was into meditation and everything, and she was also a psychiatrist, and she was trying to combine the Muslim and the Western society philosophies and why people weren't happy and everything. So I think what a lot of this is where we all search for things that interest us, and we all have different things, and sometimes you venture into something and you say, well, there's not much known here, so you just start to research it. And that's about like this guy here. He was just wondering, more about this particular subject. So he started dwelling into it a little bit more. you know. So that's kind of where that's at, you know.
Like Newton. Think about Newton whenever he got
Topic
hit by
that
the
I
apple.
liked a little bit was Fritz just mentioning
Go on, Dad. Sorry. I think there's a delay.
Why did I get hit by this apple? You know? No. Fritz just sent me a little piece that talks about the richest man in town. And it talked about this grit, this persistence, perseverance, you know. And it's so true, you know. If Fritz was able to bring that up right now, you could look at it and just see that it doesn't have anything really to do with attitude or talent.
You guys see it?
Or anything. It's just what.
It's a little small.
No.
You'd like that bigger, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I can't see it, period, but whatever.
I would like it bigger.
There you go.
Dad can't see it, period.
Oh, burn out.
I can see it. I can see it.
All right, so here it is.
Can you read K?
Yeah.
Yes, Dad, she can read. So, this is from a book called The Richest Man in Town, and this has to do with grit, okay? So, when they basically, hey, John, can you see this one too?
Yeah, with a little video.
Okay. I'll read it to you real quick. So for this one, like Richest Man in Town is basically a book about 50 of the richest people, 50 largest cities in the country. They grabbed the richest guy in town and they just said, like, tell me your secrets as to why you're the richest guy in town. And it doesn't really have to do with money per se. Moreover, just like their way to actually like be more successful and achieve more than some other people were able to. So they said the number one thing was owning their own business. That you got to stop working for the man as soon as you can. And then the second one was from Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have to work a lot, right? You have to work your butt off. And then focusing on value, not making money. That's an important distinction. Emma and I talked a lot about that for like her sleazies. Okay, you're looking at how you can help somebody, not so much how you can make money off of them. Like what can you do for them? Now, this is a big one on...
And that's just exactly like Elon.
Yep. Elon.
Yep.
Elon Musk, right? He's asking, like, how can he provide value to the world? He doesn't even care about making money. He just wants to provide value. He'll make money, but money's a byproduct. Now, focusing on unique talents, abilities, and delegating everything else. Has anybody heard of any of this kind of stuff before?
I think we've heard it from you, Fritz.
Why do we do Strength Finder, Kay?
To find our unique talents and abilities.
That way we can delegate everything else.
To other people who we know their strengths, right? And we give them all the other stuff, right? So that's the whole point of a Strength Finder, is that one right there. Okay? Number 5, partnering only with those who bring something critical to the table. If they don't bring anything critical to the table, then don't just partner with people willy-nilly. That's something I should have perhaps read. Getting addiction to ambition. In other words, getting in a habit, right? It's a habit loop. You achieve something, you get addicted. What did they say about here? Did anybody catch, like, habit when they talked about addiction? Do you guys, do you remember what he said about it?
There's one part, or there's addiction is really a physical addiction, but it's also can be an addiction to the habit. So like people who smoke, their physical addiction actually goes away after 100 hours of them not smoking. Their physical addiction is gone. However, their habit is still there, and so they go back to that habit since that neuron is still has that pathway.
So the addictions can equal habit dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Way to go, Kay.
just a habit dysfunction, right?
Habit dysfunction.
It's absolutely what it is. And, Kay, that's a much smarter way of looking at it. When people are like, I'm just addicted, I'm addicted to this. That's a kind of a fluffy way to say it. Like, what if it's just like, it's just your habit? Now, what did they say about habits? They say, or as far as habits and addiction, like, can you break a habit?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to break that habit.
No.
I'm not going to break a habit.
You can lay over it, but you can't break it.
Exactly. You have to find something that's more compelling. Okay?
So, are addictions more, like, physical, and habits are more mental? But they're still physical. You just, like, habits are more of, like, a mental thing, even though, like, physically, they're in your brain, but addictions are more of a physical, actual.
Yeah, you could look at it like that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And usually, like, you just have to change one or two of the three components, right, of a habit loop in order to change your habits around. So, like they said for Alcoholics Anonymous, do you remember what he said, what they do to change for those people? Like, why did people go to bars? It wasn't really to drink alcohol.
It was to forget all of their problems.
To have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Socialize.
So what do they do at Alcohol Anonymous? They go to a meeting, they socialize, and they talk about all their problems. It's just this time that they don't do it with any alcohol.
Yeah, easier in groups.
Yeah.
Or vacations. I think vacations take your mind off of everything. Like when we went to Montana, or even when we just come to visit you guys, I just don't want to come home because then I have to actually think about, like, going back to, like, a regular life, and it's like, but
yeah,
same idea.
It's the same exact idea. Okay, and then the very last one. We'll do the very last one. Persistence. Never giving up. In fact, most of them believe it's the only reason that they've gotten further ahead than anybody else in life. It's just simple persistence, which that's exactly what they talk about grittiness. Like by having more grit. Like you're just going to keep working. Because eventually you will. What's that?
Can you give me a definition on grit?
The definition of grit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Let's check it out.
I still abstractly know what it means, but I want a definition.
Let's see. Grit. Defined. Oh, yeah, that's a good one right there.
Perseverance and...
Whoa.
I like this one even better. Perseverance and passion toward long-term goals.
Okay.
So you see your long-term vision, and you just keep going after it.
So it's just like a synonym of perseverance.
It is.
Okay.
Perseverance, grit, persistence, determination. All of them are very, 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 very similar. This person, Duckworth, have we not watched this TED Talk? TED Talk, grit. Have we not? I'm sure that I had gotten that one over here. Have you not seen her?
Uh-uh.
Oh, dear.
She gonna be next?
She may have to be next. So she does a lot of work on grittiness. As challenging as it is, she doesn't have a book yet that she's written, and she's still early in her research. But she's really she's going about this whole thing of grit and being what they call a growth mindset, like looking at failures along the way not as a big deal, but as just along the road of success, you're going to get failures. Like that's to be expected. That's just part of growth. You just keep going. So gritty people, they just look at everything that way.
Yeah.
Depending on what the failure is, you don't even have to look at it as a failure. You just learn something new.
Well, and that's one of these 7. One of them is getting addicted to ambition. So they wouldn't necessarily notice the failures because they're ambitious to grab something else. So they are always grabbing for the next ambition. So that would make sense. That one ties right in with persistence and grit.
With habit. In this book in this Power of Habit book, they talked about people who have a gambling habit. We call it addiction, right? Gambling addiction. When they hit the slots and it comes up 777, you win, right? All of a sudden you win $30 million and you get a new car, right? 7-7 Apple. They're so close, they view it as a win because they were so close. Did they win or did they lose?
They lost.
They lost. They didn't get a car, but they view it as a win.
So close.
It's those things that you can trick your mind into do it.
They're gritty, and so if you see it as happen, how many times has the Khan Academy told me that I'm not going to be able to put stuff on their website yet? Probably 12. Every time, since I still have their email and I'm still in communication with them, in my mind, that's so I need to do this one more thing and then I can do it. Caroline, do you know how many times I got rejected from the medical school at IU?
No.
I think it was 5.
And guess what?
In a row. 5 years.
Guess what he does now? He's a doctor.
They rejected me every time. Not just the 2 times to get into medical school, the 2 times to transfer, and then 1 year to transfer. Well, I was almost done with medical school, and they still wouldn't let me in. I viewed every one of them as a win. So they responded to me, and they're saying there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
It's like 1 in a million. So there's a chance.
Possible.
So, yeah, I think that's where.
But Kay,
kind of
it is also a situation to. But it's like Fritz having the focus to do what he wants to do, and just not deviating, going off to one side or the other. It's a lot like when I was starting out, my father told me for 10 years I would be better off if I went fishing because I wasn't making any money at what I was doing. You know, so basically it's just persistence, persistence, persistence. And that's what I saw in one of the people that I kind of used as a mentor also, because he was 20 years older, and I remember one of his classmates in high school saying that practically flunked out. He just absolutely couldn't get anything when it came to school. And yet he knew more about so many things when I met him. He taught me a whole lot during the 20-some years that we were together. But he was constantly persisting to learn about everything he possibly could. You know, so that persistence is such a big thing. You know, a lot of people say that you don't need talent, you need attitude. Attitude's good, but just raw persistence makes a world of difference, you know. And Fritz showed that by continuing to go through medical school and everything else, and just not deviating, but just keeping his mind focused on what he wanted to do, you know.
And it's not really me as like an example, okay?
That's that.
Like I'm not a great example of a lot of these things, but like this one, like we've seen this quote before by Calvin Coolidge. You guys know him? He's a president. Was a president. He's dead now.
Yep.
Right? And even Duckworth, in her thing on grit, on her TED Talk on grit, she would say that, what does it mean for something to have an inverse relationship? Kay, do you remember? Like if it's directly proportional, it's directly related, or if it's inversely related. Do you remember like what it is for a relationship to have that? So with the direct relationship, it means as one goes up, so does the other one. Inverse, it means as one goes up, so does the other one. So an inverse relationship would be like your brother Walt, the more he pesters you, the less your patience is, right? So as his pestering goes up, your patience goes down. Okay? That's an inverse relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? As his kindness goes up, your kindness towards him will likely go up. Right? That's a direct relationship. Okay? All right? So what they say with grit and talent, they actually have an inverse relationship. The more talented, the more smart you are, people who are usually smarter, they can skate by. And they're usually okay in school. Therefore, they don't need to be persistent. They don't need to stay up and study a lot. It's kind of the tortoise and the hare a little bit. They're the hare. They can always do a sprint at the end and usually win, right? So it's an interesting thing that like perhaps maybe not being the smartest or the most talented is not exactly a negative thing.
Right.
Because it makes you more gritty. Because you have to actually push harder because you're not naturally gifted in any way. Now, if you're talented and gritty, now you're really a force to reckon with. But even if you don't think that you're the smartest person out there, it doesn't mean that you are ruled out from anything.
So, but they're not saying that you can't be, like you can't have grit and talent. They're just saying no.
Right.
Just a normal person, if they would test extremely high talent, they would most commonly test lower in the grit category.
That's interesting. It's interesting to think about because like, I'm smart, but I still
I'm back.
John, you're back again, buddy. 1 second.
Yeah. Wi-Fi wasn't as reliable as I thought. Computer crashes, poof, there it goes. That's what happened twice, so. But I'm back now.
All right, sorry, John. So right now, Kay, where's your microphone? I'm having trouble hearing you today.
I'll pull out the lovely headset.
Oh, I could hear you. I could hear you there.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm talking loud enough.
I think yeah.
It might have just been that you're not talking loud enough or something.
So what were you saying, Kay? Tell me again.
Well, okay, so like I'm smart, but I still
True.
like stay up late and study because it helps me do better. And like I mean I don't know if golf, like I'm kind of like golf to like them. Pretty persistent in golf. Like when I don't do good, like when I do good, but I don't do like nearly as well as I'd like to do. I'm constantly up there practicing and trying to figure out what's wrong and trying to get it right. So like that's the perseverance part of it. But then where do you, like talent? Like I have to have some talent in golf, otherwise I won't be doing it.
Look at for example, like you're perfectly correct, Kay. Dad Can you give Kay any examples on this kind of thing, where like where a person would have talent, persistence, that kind of thing, like in a sports type scenario? I'll give you one, Kay. How about this?
Not especially.
Michael Jordan, extremely talented at basketball.
And extremely persistent.
And extremely persistent.
Which just made him all better.
True. Now, he quit basketball and went to baseball for a year. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He played for the White Sox for a year. Before he retired from basketball, played for the White Sox, and then he went back to basketball after that. He really always wanted to be a baseball player. What he didn't realize is he had no talent as a baseball player at all. And every one of the White Sox coaches would always say he was the first one there in the morning, and he was always there saying, hey, how about just another couple more hours of batting practice at the end of the day? He had no talent comparatively to everyone else there. He had tons of persistence, so he still actually made I think he made like their AAA team, which for baseball is a pretty amazingly good feat.
Yeah.
You know, like that's one step below Major League. That's without any talent. That's with no talent at all, and starting to do basketball or baseball at like 35. He was older.
Yeah.
Like most people don't start baseball at 35. But that was persistence alone without talent. But when he took that persistence and talent to like basketball, at that point he was completely and totally he was a force to be reckoned with. He couldn't be touched, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not as though you can't have both. She just said like in her studies, people could slack off if they were real smart, so they never learned how to be gritty. And that's just a portion of people, not everybody, just a portion of people.
Oh, okay.
It's not everybody, but the beautiful thing is to have both. The bottom line, if you have persistence, you can control one. You can't really control the talent part.
Yeah. But now that we've had our strength finder and we kind of know our strengths and kind of can figure out what our best talents are, then we can be persistent at the things that matter, and that will make us a lot more successful, a lot more helpful. I just got it.
And I got the boom for the day right there, Kay. You saw it here. Nice. So, Kay, what else was in your notes from this one? And then, John, you're up next.
Okay.
I definitely agreed with the part how it's easier to change things in groups. You know, we kind of touched on that with the alcoholics. Because you know you can do it. Like intellectually, you're like, well, I'm capable of doing that. I'll be able to do that. But then emotionally, you eventually hit that wall where you're like, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. I don't even know why I'm trying this hard. And you just stop and you just go back to your old habits. So it's a lot easier in groups, or if you have at least like one person, you know, there supporting you and helping you. It makes it easier on yourself.
So, Kay, can you think of any habits that you may want to modify or that you may want to change? Kind of like this guy's cookie habit? Or a habit of something you would like to do that you don't do yet?
Maybe not procrastinating.
So you think you procrastinate, okay?
Maybe a little bit.
All right. What reward do you get out of procrastinating? So if there's the loop, right? You get the cue, the behavior, and the reward. If it's a habit, what kind of reward do you get out of that? Do you eventually get it all done?
Yeah. Usually. But it's
Usually get it done.
because it's at the last minute. It's so stressful and I hate it. But
How do you feel right after you get it done, right under the wire?
well, thank goodness I squeaked by and got it done.
So does that make you
So
feel pretty good?
Sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it probably does. So you get a little reward out of making sure that you get it done right before the deadline.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong.
I feel a lot better though if I do it like way in advance, and it's all done. And I don't have to worry about it. Like I feel a lot better. I just don't do that.
How do you
it may
reward
just
yourself?
be.
Go on, Nana. You got it.
Could it be not so much that you are excited once you get it done right under the wire, but maybe it's this. Anybody else hear that humming?
It's dead.
Dad, will you mute yourself while you're not talking? Please. Okay, so maybe it's the stuff that comes before. Maybe you just don't want to start it right away.
Yeah, I don't ever want to start it.
You don't ever want to start it. It's not so much that you want to finish it right before the wire. You just don't want to start it. Maybe that's the reward, like that you get to play with the girls a little bit first, or you get to eat dinner or help mom make dinner, or you get to do all your little things beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be the reward.
How about this, Kay? Have you ever utilized artificial deadlines?
Meaning what? Like
Say you have.
What
What do you normally? Yeah, what do you normally procrastinate for? Like, what's an example of something you procrastinate doing?
Summer reading?
So what if you were to tell yourself that, like, sorry, the actual real deadline for summer reading
Is June 31st.
Yeah.
Well, then I'd actually know in my mind that it's not actually June 31st. Then if something comes up, I can be like, oh, well, it's not actually June 31st, so I guess I can do this instead.
So you need somebody else to keep you accountable.
Yeah. Mom tries to do that, and it doesn't work because I know I can get past it.
So Dad seemed to do really well with his steps that one time when he knew that he had to give Katie $1,000 to do her landscape work if he didn't do it.
This is a bad idea. I shouldn't have. Your mom calling? So.
You're making her uncomfortable, Fritz.
I don't have an extra $1,000.
That was just an example. You have to find something that you would actually care about. So for Dad, that was big enough. The pain of that was big enough to do it, right?
Overcome the pain of the steps. Yeah.
Caroline, somebody asked me today, like I got interviewed by this guy today that asked me like why I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I said that the pain of having to work for someone else and not having control over what I wanted to do was actually more than actually the pain of doing all of the crap it would take to actually have a company that might actually be able to do something. It was just that this one was less painful than the other, for me.
Yeah.
For Dad, it's not as though he couldn't give $1,000 to Katie for her yard work. It's that for him would be way more painful. So for you, all you have to do is come up with what maybe would be more painful for you, Kay. What would really get your goat?
I don't know.
if there's maybe something that you couldn't do, or maybe that you had to do, like, okay, now you have to
clean toilets next 2 weeks.
Clean toilets, every two,
Yeah, but like something like that, I wouldn't actually do that. Like we can set that as a goal, but that's not gonna happen. Like it just. Mom will tell me like, okay, you have now since you didn't do it, you have to clean the toilets, and then I'll be like, no, I'm not cleaning the toilets, and I just don't clean them. I have a really bad case of procrastination. It's hard to overcome, guys.
Could very well be.
So what's something you would really like to do? Cars? You like a car?
Yeah.
Not gonna have a car anyway. How about taking your phone away?
You know, I'm not as addicted to my phone as everyone else.
Nobody's addicted to their phone until you take it away.
Yeah,
you'd find extra time to read if you didn't have your phone.
Yeah, they'd probably be good ones.
Yeah, bet it would.
Hey. Oh dear. I think we may be onto something. So what's another one other than procrastination? A small, easy, like he was saying in there, a little win, right? You start with the little wins and then things get bigger. Procrastination is a big one. What's a little one? Any little something? Like Anna with ice cream. That's a bigger one, I guess. So like Anna with milk. Anna with milk.
Yep.
It's a small win. It's a good win.
Small win.
It's not insignificant, but it's a small one that, like, what did she do? Her cue, she still wanted something that tasted like milk, right?
And that I could put with cereal and cookies.
So when she saw a cookie and cereal and stuff like that, when she got that cue, her behavior switched from milk to almond milk, right? And she still got her reward of being able to enjoy it, right? To catch that, it went through all 3 stages of the habit loop.
Yeah.
The whole cycle. Went through everything. Dad, what's one that you want to do? And John, I'm asking you next. Dad, you're still muted. You have to unmute yourself if you want to talk. We still can't hear you.
Just did.
Okay, so what's a little habit?
Can't you hear me now?
I can.
Yep.
Go for it.
To get back to exercising every morning.
Ooh, that's a keystone habit, isn't it, Kay?
Right.
Kay, do you remember what they said about exercise?
It's a ripple. It's a big ripple one.
Yeah.
Ripple.
People who exercise then eat better, and they don't use their credit card as much.
Yeah, you know, and I also found that when you exercise, you just become more happy. You're just happier. So, yeah, that's another one.
So, Dad, how about we do this for the next 2 weeks, back with the Katie thing? Because I was over at Katie's, and she could use some landscape work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she could find somewhere to use more landscaping.
Oh, yeah. Dad, we can't hear you. We'll work on him in just a little bit. John.
He's a little slower than ours, or his connection.
Yeah, I think he's got like a delay. What about you, John?
Like habits I want to form or habits I want to stop.
What was that?
Same thing. a habit you want to stop would be a new habit you'd want to form. So you can either do either one.
Okay, well, something I want to stop is, I guess I bite my nails quite often, but I'm a nervous person, so I think that has something to do with it. So,
Okay.
John, this is a great one. I've overcome this habit too. So
yeah,
John, tell me, why do you do it? Why do you think you do it?
Maybe two reasons. Maybe because I'm nervous about something, or it's a bit of a time waster, something to occupy myself with.
Okay.
And what reward does it give you? It gives you. You know what I mean?
Doesn't really give a reward. At least not thought of.
I get you. It's hard to figure out what it might be. I mean, it occupies your time. It gives you something to do, right? It gives you something to do. You feel a little sense of accomplishment because you've gotten every last bit of those fingernails off of there. Trust me, and I used to do it too, so I understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, like.
Or like if there was a snag on your fingernail, then you could rip it off.
Then you really get into it.
And then yeah, so then it would not be as jagged because you could bite it all down to nothing. So that was kind of a reward. For me, I've quit.
I tried. I started biting my nails, and then like 2 days later, I was like, I don't see the point of this, so I can't really help with this one. I just stopped because I didn't like it.
Well, okay, but if you don't go from personal experience, Kay, you just look at the habit loop. There's usually three things, right? There's the cue, the behavior, and the reward.
Yeah.
So a cue in John's case, and in a lot of people, John, we're not just singling you out. So the cue, what do you think your cue is? What do you think does that? Anxious, nervousness, bored?
Maybe boredom.
Right?
I'm bored when I'm waiting for something.
Yeah.
So
when you're waiting, you're trying to keep your brain occupied, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So your behavior is chewing your nails. The reward is probably hard to say, but maybe like a sense of accomplishment or something like that from getting from biting them off and doing stuff like that.
You're having something to do while you're bored.
What's something else you could do when you got bored? Because the cue isn't going to change, right? You're still going to get bored a little bit. You're going to have to wait for things at times, right?
Yeah. Something like this.
So if you had a different behavior, because the reward isn't that rewarding, right? Because it's hard to even figure out what the reward is. So it's not that rewarding. So it's pretty easy to replace. All we have to do is come up with any other behavior that you'd like to do at the same time.
What was that?
So the reward isn't that great, right? It's kind of a crappy reward because it's hard to even figure out what it is. But you know your behavior is chewing your nail. So
okay. You chew your nail?
There's a lot
you
of.
Can eat.
Is that Eli?
You chew your nail?
So if you can find any other. Yeah.
Sorry. You
Go
can't really change your cue because you just get nervous.
Or bored. Like that's gonna continue to stay. Like that'll stay the whole time.
So if you try to find something different to do with instead, what did you find?
That even gives you a greater reward. So to me, I just found that I was just mindlessly doing it. I was just doing it as hey, I need to get these taken off, and I didn't have like a clipper around. Plus, whenever I did them with a clipper, they weren't all that smooth anyway. Like they'd always be hard on the edges and stuff like that, and I didn't like it.
Oh That's another thing. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so things like unsymmetrical bother me. So that's another thing. I want everything to be.
John, I have manicured fingers. If you could see my fingers, like nurses will look at them and they'll be like, "Oh my God, did you get a manicure? Like, did you like those are beautiful fingernails? Like I've never seen those on a man." John, you can make like literally. Now I don't. I do my fingernails literally once every 2 weeks. Not that often. Okay, clip them down with a clipper, and then I have one 4-way little file. You can file them down to make them so smooth and so flippin' perfect that it's ridiculous. And it doesn't take that much time, John. It seems kind of girly, but only the first time you do it. After that, you're like, holy crap, this is the only way. Now, I wouldn't even consider like chewing on my nails, John. I wouldn't even consider it. Why? I can't make them look anything this great. I can't make them feel this great.
In order to not bite mine, I started taking biotin, and because mine would snag, and then I'd want to rip them off, and then bite them down so that they didn't snag anymore. But once I started getting biotin, it made my nails hard, so now they don't break, they don't snag, so I don't have to bite them off. And now if I absent-mindedly put them in my mouth to chew on them, the feeling is different because they're harder. And then I automatically break my habit because I'm like, I don't want to bite on those nails. They're perfect. Like, they're hard and they're strong, and so I don't want to mess with them. So I, like I said, started taking that vitamin biotin. And now when I'm bored, I'll like twist my hair and put my hair up in a ponytail, and so I play with my hair now instead, which is but yeah, the rewards are so much better now. So that's how I did mine.
And John, what I did to replace it at the same time, like whenever I was like whenever I was kind of mindlessly doing that before, I would start deep breathing, because I'd always read that how good taking deep breaths was for you. I would start doing deep breathing, and it made me feel so much better anyway, where I just take a deep breath in. Now on the screen, like John, this is the file I kind of like or one that's similar to the one that I kind of always use. You certainly don't have to, and it is extremely a girl product, but I'm telling you, real men file their nails.
Real men do whatever they want, and they don't care if somebody thinks it's girly.
Damn right. And not only that, no girl wants you to have snaggly nails to where, like, you know, when you touch them, it scrapes their skin. Not cool.
Is John still on,
they just don't like it.
Or did he pop off?
Ah, John jumped off. Enough girly nail talk for him.
That's too much.
All right, so let's go into our goals for this next week, guys. Want to go ahead and wrap it up?
Yes.
Kay, are you happy with everything that was on your list?
Me?
The review of the.
Oh.
I had one more quote for you, Kay. All this habit talk made me think of Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
Fake it till you make it.
Every single time. You just do it all the time. That's just what you do.
I used the fake it till you make it in golf the other day because I was doing really bad and it was a tournament. And I was doing really horrible. And like last year when I did really bad, I just started to want to like cry, you know, and I got teary-eyed because I'm a girl. And so I was like, Caroline, just fake it till you're done, and then you go into your hotel room, and then you'll have a fun time or whatever. So I did, and I was happy the rest of the time.
Good for you, Kay. Good for you. All right.
This is good.
Goals this next time. Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Would you like to get the Disque Foundation shirt done by next week? That'd be a good goal. Oh,
What do you want me to
snap
do?
dog. Have the design done. Have everything ready. Start printing them out. Let's do this.
Okay.
Didn't we talk about a Disque Foundation shirt?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Did we get done with that? Did we already print it out, or did I miss that part?
We didn't print it. No. We didn't print it.
It's a figment of our imagination right now, isn't it?
Sort of. I was just thinking of what I had the rest of the week. I was just thinking of my schedule, that's all.
She wants to set herself up to win.
Just wanted to make sure I'd have time to do it. Yeah. Okay.
All right. How about this? We'll have the final design decided upon by next week.
Oh, that sounds good.
Is that doable?
Yep. I want to finish one of my summer reading books.
Which book?
Wuthering Heights. Guys, you don't understand. Summer reading books are awful. We have to read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. We have to read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And we have to read Hamlet by Shakespeare. Glad you think this is funny, because it's not.
Let me know how they are. I've never read any of them.
Yeah, me neither. They all sound really old and boring.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've used Hamlet today? I mean, probably at least 3 times.
I know, it comes into my life every day. I'm
all
so
the
glad
time
that I had that knowledge. It's so worth it. Look at us motivating you, Caroline.
I understand that they're pointless and there's no point in reading them. So I cliff noted and spark noted Frankenstein.
I like that idea.
And I would like to do Wuthering Heights, but Mom bought me the book, so I'd feel really bad if I didn't actually read it.
So now we need to work on how we feel. Right?
Feelings seem to be getting in the way of the actual goal.
Caroline, this is an extremely...
Finish the book.
This is really important. So at some point we have to get into, like, being able to control our feelings, right?
My gosh, that's such a good idea. My golf coach was talking to me tonight on how I need to control my emotions.
Do you know what Stephen Covey, Dad, do you remember what Stephen Covey always did for his sons whenever they would not be able to control their emotions? Everybody in the family had the same kind of response. They would all do monkey noises.
Because you're no better than a monkey if you can't control your emotions.
Right? Humans are self-aware. They're able to say, this happened, now this is how I'm going to respond, right? What's Lee Brower always say? E plus R equals O, right? Event plus your response equals the outcome. Your response is your emotion to it, your reaction, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you shouldn't have emotions. You just don't want to be controlled by them. So if you have to read a big, long book because it would make you feel bad not to, you have to think at some point, maybe that emotion isn't serving you well.
But it's also for my grade because we have to take tests and essay on them.
Well, then it's a change in language where you're like, I'm choosing to do this one because there's dual benefit. Actually, triple benefit. A, I get gritty by doing all this work for no good reason, so I'm getting gritty. Okay?
I don't think I want to get gritty this way.
Right? You're like, hey, I'm getting gritty. My mom bought it for me, and I'm going to feel good after doing that, and I'm going to do it for my grade. So I like to read on this one book. Then you're making an active choice. If you do it because you feel bad about something, then you just have to think, that's just not working out for me. So that's your goal for next week? You're going to read that?
Yeah, or Spark Noted or something.
Okay.
Hey,
Anna,
hey
how
guys,
about
hey.
you? Yeah?
So. Enough of me. I'm listening.
All right, so Anna, what about you for this week?
For this week, I'm going to run 3 times. I'm going to find my shoes, get on my pants, and I'm going to have 3 runs.
Get on those pants.
I'm going to find those pants, and I'm going to wear them. It's going to be great.
Now, on our habit loop, where would the pants fall? The cue, the behavior, the reward?
They're a cue. So I'm going to have like a bag. I'm going to pack like a little bag and keep it in my car. That way it's there. It's a cue. Like, hey, I gotta wear those pants later. I look really good in spandex pants, and I'm going to wear those.
People who work out each morning, Dad, what they do a lot of times to cue themselves is to put their running shoes right beside their bed. So when they get out of their bed in the morning to pee, their running shoes are right there waiting for them. Or they'll even sleep in their actual running pants.
Nice.
So that way when they get up, they're already in that, like, they're halfway ready to run. They don't even have to think about it. They just do it. Just some ideas on your, how many thousand steps this week, Dad, since you're getting back to working out?
Well,
or do you just want to say you're going to have more steps than me? Huh?
Let's just say we'll do 70.
Now, when you say wheel, how about just you?
I can handle that. Because I'll probably end up getting something like 19,000 tomorrow and another 19,000 on Wednesday.
Well, then why don't you step up your goal a little bit? That puts you at 90,000 steps already.
Let's take puppy steps here.
Small wins, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kay, did you catch that? Grandpa's going to do 70,000.
Yep.
And we lost to John. All right, I'm doing a cleanse this week. So I'm doing T's cleanse. So for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be doing T's cleanse.
Woohoo! That'll be nice after Montana.
So much ice cream and bison eaten in Montana that now I need a cleanse.
Yeah. The kind of hamburger kind of sounds good, doesn't it? I think that was just a cue.
That's a bad cue. No, it doesn't sound good.
Like we made tacos tonight, and
tacos sound much better. Oh yeah, lots of lettuce in there.
All right, ladies. All right. All right, guys.
Okay.
Okay, you enjoy.
And
John,
now.
Are you back now?
Hey.
Yeah. Hi.
Good. Hey, John, we got goals for next week. What's your goal for next week?
Trying to break my habit and attempt doing 10 minutes of jump rope each day.
Attempt
10
it.
minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes of jump rope. Start off small, gradually increase.
Nice. Okay. All right. 10 minutes of jump rope. It is. And no biting of the nails.
Yeah.
All right.
And the jump is supposed to become a habit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Little by little.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. You enjoy.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have one more thing.
Oh, sorry, Kay. What do you got?
So they said exercise, changes your self-image. And then they gave the example. I'm the type of guy who can run this much, which is what T does. She does the thing where like I'm the type of person who, yada yada yada.
That sounds a lot like prizing, doesn't it?
Prizing.
Prizing?
Dad is getting really... We can do prizing. Let's do prizing to start.
Wait, no, I have to go take a shower and go to bed.
Okay, you're the kind of person that really cares enough about your hygiene to go take a shower and get off to bed tonight so you can get up really early when your willpower is high so you can do the really important stuff in the morning before you even get started for the day. That's what kind of person you are.
Thank you. Fritz, you're the type of person who cares about me getting my sleep. Wants me to do better and be more proactive in the morning.
Yes, I am, Kay.
Yeah, but no, really, I actually do have to get up early. I have golf practice at 8.
Good job.
Okay. Love you.
Okay.
All right, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, darling.